For most of my mid-20s, the ritual at the end of a hard day was the same. I would get home, change out of whatever I'd been wearing, make something to eat, usually pasta or rice with whatever was in the fridge, sit down on the couch and spend the next 2 to 3 hours on my phone. Instagram, YouTube, Reddit, back to Instagram, a few minutes of a show I had queued up, back to YouTube, check a notification, open it, close it, scroll something else. I called this unwinding. I genuinely believed this was rest. I would tell people when they asked what I did to decompress that I just relaxed at home in the evenings, and what I meant without knowing it was that I swapped that form of overstimulation for a different form of overstimulation and went to bed more depleted than I had arrived. The evidence was in my sleep if I had been paying attention to it. I was getting 7.5 to 8 hours most nights and waking up tired. Not groggy tired, not the kind of tired that coffee fixes in 20 minutes. A deeper tired, a behind the eyes tired, as if the sleep I was getting was not actually restoring whatever resource the day had depleted. I attributed this to work stress. I attributed it to not exercising enough. I attributed it to the accumulated weight of adult life. The possibility that the 2 hours I was spending on my phone immediately before bed had anything to do with it did not occur to me for an embarrassingly long period of time, because the phone felt passive. It felt like I was doing nothing. Doing nothing, I reasoned, was rest. This was the mistake. I started reading about sleep not out of any great intention, but because it came up in a book I was working through, and I encountered the concept of cognitive load for the first time in a way that actually landed. The brain does not experience passive scrolling as rest. It experiences it as a continuous stream of low-grade decision-making. Is this interesting? Should I engage? What does this make me feel? Should I share this? What should I watch next? What does this comment mean? Is this relevant to me? Dozens of micro-assessments per minute, none of them significant, all of them accumulative. The phone does not feel demanding because none of the individual demands are large, but you are making hundreds of them per hour, and your brain is processing all of them, and processing is work regardless of how effortless it appears from the outside. I decided to run an experiment. For 3 weeks, I would put my phone in the kitchen at 8 in the evening and not retrieve it until 7 the following morning. No exceptions, no checking, no dot one more look. The first night I sat on my couch at 8:15 and felt something I can only describe as a kind of directionless restlessness. Like a dog that has been let inside but has not yet found the right place to lie down. I did not know what to do with my hands. I did not know what to do with my eyes. I had been so habituated to the constant low-level stimulation of a screen that the absence of it felt like deprivation rather than relief. I read for 40 minutes instead, which felt productive but also slightly effortful in a way that suggested my attention had been degraded more than I had known. By the end of week 1, something had shifted. I was falling asleep faster, not dramatically but noticeably, within 15 minutes of lying down rather than the 45 to 60 I had been averaging. By week 2, I was waking up before my alarm 2 days in a row, which had not happened in years. Not leaping out of bed awake, just genuinely rested in a way that felt qualitatively different from the rest I had been calling rested before. Week 3, I started noticing that my evenings felt longer, not in a bored way, in a substantive way. I was reading more, cooking properly again, having longer phone conversations with people I cared about, sitting on my balcony in the quiet for 20 minutes without needing to fill it. The time that had been occupied by the phone had not disappeared. It had just revealed itself as actual time I could use. The worst discovery was the most obvious one. I had been using the phone to decompress from interactions and stimulation that the phone had also been generating. I was medicating the anxiety of a connected world with more connection to the same world, the way you might take a painkiller that also causes headaches. The phone was both the source of the tension and the object I reached for to relieve it. And because each hit of relief was brief and incomplete, I returned to it again within minutes, which is not how rest works. Rest works by removing the stimulus. The phone never removed the stimulus, it just changed its flavor. The body and the mind are one system. When you spend 2 hours before bed asking your brain to process hundreds of small stimuli, you do not get restorative sleep, and when you do not get restorative sleep, you wake up in a state of deficit that the day's demands then compound, and by evening you are depleted enough that the phone, the easiest, most available thing, feels like the only option. The cycle sustains itself. You have to break it deliberately. If you're out there and you recognize this, the scrolling that does not refresh you, the sleep that does not restore you, the evenings that disappear without leaving anything behind, the intervention is specific and it is not complicated. Your phone goes in a different room at 8 in the evening. Not silenced, not face down. different room. Replace the first 30 minutes of that recovered time with something analog and low stimulation. A book, a notebook, a walk around the block, a conversation. Do this for 14 days and pay close attention to the quality of your sleep in week 2 compared to week 1. The data will be more persuasive than anything I can say. Matthew Walker, who has spent his career studying sleep, describes screens before bed as a form of neurological vandalism. You are actively damaging the architecture of your rest with every minute you spend on them. I did not know this when I was doing it. Now you do. Your phone is not relaxing you, it is exhausting you. And the exhaustion feels like a reason to reach for it again, which is the cruelest part of the whole design. If you want to join me on my journey and see more videos like this, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.